Hello everybody, and welcome to my place on the internet, where I am your host, Peter aka the MuttonChopGuy, where I jump into the sprawling world of manga to talk about a niche genre within it, known as Komi, or Bara, whichever you like. Oh boy, 2024, what a year has it been, am I right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's been a very crazy year so far for me. If you have not been following along with my channel, I have made 2 community posts explaining what's been going on in my life that took me this long to make another video. So I do apologize for taking so long for making another video. But you can go check out my community posts here or on my channel, wherever, to catch up with what has been going on in my life. But to update the people who have been keeping up with that, my husband's doing very well. He's making great progress in his recovery from his injury, and we are now at a point where we're going to be staying in a place for a few months, and things seem to be stabilizing to the point where I can get back to making videos. So again, I apologize for taking so long for making a video, but if you want to know why it took me so long, go check out my posts.
Alright then, I will.
Alrighty, so what is it that I'm going to be talking about today? Well, this is a lovely, unfortunately incomplete manga series that one of my Discord members actually recommended me to actually talk about, and since it's been a while since I've seen this guy and talked to this guy, I want to make sure that I want to let him know that, hey, covering this one for you because I miss hanging out with you on Discord. So hopefully if he watches this, that maybe he can find some time to come back on Discord for a bit. Who knows? Yes, Darren, I'm covering one of your recommendations again because you have great recommendations. And what is it that I'm covering this time? Well, it is, yes, another furry manga, but of course in this genre we do not discriminate against the furries because at least some of them actually can write some decent stories. And this one is called Shiroi's Public Investigation. And if you can already see by the cover art, this is already going to be very interesting. And the artwork is not too bad to look at. So, let's get right into things.
Shall we?
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's a calm and quiet evening in the city. And today's the day that our main man, Shiroi, becomes a man. He's waited his whole life for this moment. He pays for his ticket. He gets his towel. He's pumped for this endeavor into manhood. At a cruising spot. Okay, that isn't what I had in mind for a rite of passage, but sure, let's see where this takes him. Oh, he's striking out. Well, shit.
Wow, what do you say after that one? Brutal, savage, wrecked, absolutely taken down.
Shiroi feels like he's in a madhouse with all the activity going on around him, but not including him. Feeling dejected and defeated for his first time at a place like this, he mentally prepares to leave when a collection of books on a shelf catches his eye. It's a beloved story series that he's read before, and before he knew it, he's read through multiple volumes of being totally absorbed by it. Damn dude, that's pretty fast reading.
Well, thank you.
So he gathers the books to return to the shelf when another person enters the room. He's a rough looking guy with that bad boy charm and heads right towards our main boy. Paralyzed with anxiety, Shiroi flinches once the guy asks him about the books he's holding, only to discover that he shares his love for the same series. Our bad boy says how this book changed his life, wanting to write a story like that one, only to find another job due to his lack of drawing skills to tell his story with high quality. Our boy Shiroi tells him that this book helped him lead to a probationary job with its publisher after a period of not finding work. Our 2 guys share a nice moment, until someone walks in and passes by them that they realize where they were.
Oh my god, yes, that is tasteful.
Wondering what to do now, our bad boy comes up with a brilliant idea. How about them giving it a go?
It's happening. Shut the door.
They find themselves a room, our bad boy telling Shiroi how some spots have private rooms, while Shiroi stands there, petrified at the prospect of going through with this, trying to figure out how this is happening to him here and now. Really? You're trying to figure out why this is happening after making the choice to go into a cruise? But you know what? Never mind. Let's just keep going. So our bad boy turns Shiroi around and starts with the foreplay. Which, yes, this is important, leaving our boy bewitched by arousal. Then our bad boy asks the big question, if Shiroi is a bottom. To which his response is, maybe, I guess. Confused, he asks what he means, and gets revealed that this is Shiroi's first time. Stunned by the news, our bad boy tells Shiroi that he will give him the first time to remember. Well, he's going to remember this regardless of the outcome, in all honesty. I mean, I remember my first time with a man, but I also remember my first time with my girlfriend, and that wasn't the greatest experience ever. But we were both virgins, so neither of us knew what we were doing in the first place. So... yeah, let's stop talking about this, as I'm sure you're already bored. So we get our first pillowing scene. After their roughing, Shiroi is waiting for our bad boy to finish changing, feeling like a nervous wreck while doing so. Wow, yep, that's definitely what a recently former virgin would feel. What, you never felt like that after your first time? Well, whoop-de-doo for you, you lucky bitch. Anyway, so our bad boy finishes up and holy crap, the dude cleans up like damn!
Yes! Yes!
Our two boys exchange emails after a night of dinner, and a few weeks later, we see our boy Shiroi ascending some stairs following his recruiter when he gets an email from our bad boy, telling him that he'll do great and to work hard. Aw, that's so sweet. So the recruiter enters the office to introduce Shiroi to the staff, and we see our bad boy again. Wait, what? Oh no. Oh boy, this is gonna make things interesting.
Oh man, this is gonna be good.
So the recruiter asks our bad boy, Kurokawa, to show the new guy the ropes, shaking hands and keeping it cool so they don't rouse any suspicion. They retreat to the roof for smoke and fresh air, and Kurokawa explains how he never expected Shiroi to be the new employee. Wait, so you talked to each other leading up to this point, and not once did either of you ask the name of the company Shiroi is going to work for, or even when he applied for the job? What did you guys talk about the entire time? Alright, whatever. Anyways, Shiroi is excited about working with Kurokawa while he's deliberating the situation in his head, fearing the danger of this while at work. We'll come back around to this later. Then suddenly, a new person appears to the scene. His name is Ogi, and quickly takes a liking to Shiroi, introducing himself and becoming acquainted with him. Kurokawa takes notice of this and shows some rather strange annoyance to the developing scene in front of him. Oh, is someone getting jealous? I think so.
Sheriff, he's over here.
They return to the office, Shiroi introducing and becoming acquainted with the rest of the staff when Kurokawa asks to speak with Ogi alone. Kurokawa interrogates Ogi on his motives, which perplexes him as to why he's behaving like this over the new guy. It's then revealed that these two encountered each other at a gay bar a while back, and Kurokawa told Ogi that they were never there. Probably because of the workplace climate, but we'll get back to that. So Ogi asks if Kurokawa was already with Shiroi, which this shows his conflict with the situation by saying that they were dating, but then they weren't dating. And Ogi asks if he would have an issue if, quote, he was with the puppy with a broken heart. Kurokawa hesitates before saying that there isn't a problem, leaving Ogi to watch with an interesting look on his face. What are you thinking, Ogi? You trying to plot something? You would, you devilish cat, you. A week goes by, and Ogi has been interacting with Shiroi, getting close and personal with him while Kurokawa watches from afar, keeping his distance. Kurokawa ponders on his feelings for Shiroi, prompting a flashback to the dinner they had after their bathhouse excursion. Shiroi talks about how he admires a relationship between a good writer and a good editor that results in a fantastic story that touches the hearts of the readers, and wishes to have a relationship like that in his own life. This had Kurokawa reflect on how he wanted the same thing a long time ago, but forgot about it as time went on. But surprised to hear Shiroi say it. Then he snaps out of it by a coworker informing him of the change to his workload. At the end of the workday, Kurokawa was finishing up at his locker when he gets a message from Ogi, stating that he was out with Shiroi and that he's going to have a, quote, good time now. Sparking a flare of jealousy, Kurokawa replies asking where they are located, ignoring the coworker as he runs out to catch a taxi. Aw, poor guy. He's just trying to be a good team player. Kirikawa catches up with them and sees that they're sitting at a table, with Shiroi having tears in his eyes. So he approaches them and Shiroi sees him, tells him that he did a good job today. Then explains how he saw Ogi's assets for the story that they're working on and was so happy to see them as he teared up. It's then that Kirikawa kind of just blurts out that he likes Shiroi, resulting in everyone stunned by what was said. Like, this is a classic anime moment to me, and I just love it. It's funny, it's cute, and it's supposed to shock you too. After some time being reprimanded by Ogi, Kirikawa and Shiroi retreat into a more private place to talk about what just happened. Shiroi explains that he wanted to stay away from Kirikawa because he didn't want to make things more complicated at work than it already has been with their meeting beforehand. While Kirikawa figures what could happen if they're found out having a relationship together, his feelings for Shiroi is stronger, so he exclaims his love for him. This results in another pillowing scene, but Kirikawa wants to repay for his transgression for making Shiroi cry by offering to flip the roles for the first excursion, meaning he'll bottom this round.
That was cute. I liked that. I liked that a lot.
So, of course, Shiroi is on board and we get a hot yet rather sweet scene between these two. The next day, Ogi is stunned by learning about everything between our two main characters. He resigns to the news and says that he'll miss those natural delights of those days, meaning that he'll miss those times he spent with Shiroi. Then Kirikawa receives an email from someone who asks if it's okay to meet up, and the story ends with Kirikawa saying a single name, Tomosu.
That can't be it. Where's the rest of it?
This is a simple, cute story that I'm sure many of us have seen before, and yet there isn't anything wrong with that. I like reading stories like this as I know what I should expect and enjoy when things line up in that fashion. I don't need to have my expectations subverted all the time that Hollywood is obsessed with at this point. One thing I want to point out is the parts where our two main characters share their love for a series that they can bond over, and how it was used as a through line between them. With seeing the conversation they had on their dinner date, it shows how Shiroi wanted to have a relationship that will make both him and his partner to succeed, while also touching on the lives of the audience in the same way that they were touched by the stories they loved. Well, as ambitious as that wish is, at least it's a great one for a story like this, but you'll have to tell me what you think about that. Okay, so here's where I tried to summarize the whole cultural thing when it comes to Kirikawa's behavior at work. If you don't know how Japanese work culture is, then holy crap, you should be glad to not have to be a part of it. It's very strict when it comes to things like fraternization between two employees of different ranks. In this case, a manager and a worker. Granted, this is a policy in many countries, if not all countries, but I know there are some places that have things in place if this should happen in cases like this story. I mean, these two met each other before they started working together, so if that was disclosed, then they may have either choose to separate, which is the most probable answer the job would make them choose, or have to go through a training course for it, which sounds like costs the company wouldn't want to pay for. However, the penalties of getting caught with a workplace relationship like that is pretty severe in Japan, so I don't blame Kirikawa for having fears about that. All that does is add to the tension of the story when it comes to Ogi doing his thing with Shiroi, forcing Kirikawa to respond and confront the situation. Though that does beg the question on if Ogi and Shiroi are work peers or if Ogi is a higher position than him, which would make the situation for Ogi about the same, but he didn't show any fear, which makes me lean towards the peer thing. Tell me what you think about that. Regardless, this did make Kirikawa express his true feelings to Shiroi. Even though I'm pretty sure that Ogi was trying to get that to happen when they had their first talk with Kirikawa on the roof. There is a lot of details in this that you can read into that kept me on my toes about it, since this is showing the climate of the workplace in Japan. The one thing I do need to point out that this story reflects the closeting nature of people in the workplace, because Japan has a strong entrenched social structure in their workplace environment that would take me forever to break down, since I would have to explain essentially all of Japanese culture at this point, and we just don't have the time for that. I will say that there is this movie with Michael Keaton called Gung Ho, where American workers essentially learn how Japanese work ethics are when a Japanese company bought their factory, which I suggest checking out. I'm not saying that this is an accurate representation of such, but it at least gives you some idea of how it appears and how American culture clashes with it. The second part of the story was translated to English from the Spanish version, so there may be a bunch of context that got muddled in the translation. And this is why I wish we can find better ways to get proper translations that benefited both customers and creators. However, we are talking about a niche thing that makes things more difficult. But I have at least one member in my server showing that Faku is working on digital translation for Gay Komi works, so at least there is steps in that direction.
Alright.
The last thing I would like to touch on is the end, which you probably know is not done. And you will be correct. Do we know who the third character is? No, but I haven't found any new installments of this story. But I can certainly say that I am happily awaiting to see how this story ends. And I can definitely see a love triangle thing happening here, but I can also see a previous love that didn't work out in the past come back to reconcile the relationship and it causing friction between Shiroi and Kirikawa. There are many avenues that this story can go down, so I guess we're going to have to wait and see if this ever gets completed. The problem with some of these stories is that they're never finished for whatever reason that happens to prevent them to complete it. I understand, maybe they got bored with the story, wanted to work on something else, maybe they picked up the gig to work on and put this on the back burner, or maybe they simply forgot about it and they just let it collect dust in their archive. Who knows? Let's just hope to get a conclusion. The art in this work is pretty great. You can read the expressions on the characters clearly, the panels utilize the flow really well, and the character models are distinct from each other. I love how we have this bad boy look with Kirikawa and then show him look formal with a suit. People need to know that dressing like this is a good thing, and not because it's for the workplace. My husband likes to dress in the 3-piece suit and tie, because he will tell you that dressing nice will make you feel good about yourself. And I can't help but agree with him. I know people think that it shouldn't matter how you dress, but I disagree with that on the stance of dressing for other people's approval. You should dress for yourself that makes you feel good about yourself, and I have plenty of friends who dress in many different ways that get compliments for it because people can see how their self-esteem radiates from it. Getting back on topic here, I like how the artists use their skills to convey everything from the characters and the scenarios within the story. While I got a bit lost with the dialogue, I think the visuals were able to help me keep up with what the author was going for. When it comes to the pillowing scenes, they were tasteful and yet had weight in the story, which will always get props from me. I like it when these scenes are used for narrative payoff because I like to have these scenes feel earned and not just thrown in there for fan service. Not saying that fan service is bad, I just want it to feel earned. Overall though, I think this is very decent art that has a great balance of distinction and detail with the flow of the story. Check it out! In summation, this is an incomplete story that has a nice premise that is easy to follow, while giving us great points of tension and conflict that I feel grounded in the culture the author knows so well about, considering that they live in it. The characters give good and clear motivations while also displaying their thoughts through their body language and facial expressions, while the overall story beats flowed well and kept you going until the cliffhanger at the end in the second volume. But if you're like me, then you are happily waiting to see the story unfold. And that is pretty much it for my video. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say in this one. This is a particular story that I thought was really nice, and of course, since it was recommended to me, I thought it would be nice for you guys to check out as well. Unfortunately though, I cannot link anything to any works now because every time I do that, YouTube removes it and it always sends me an email saying, "We removed this piece of content from your description." So I'm sorry I can't link the where you can read this story, but at least you guys have the name for it and it should be really easy to find. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you want to help me out, like, share, and subscribe, all the algorithmic stuff, because that's all absolutely for free. And of course, if you feel so compelled to help me out any further and you really want to, you can always donate to me at my Ko-Fi, which that link will be in the description. If you have any recommendations for me, please do not hesitate to put it in the comment section down below. Anything that's related to Bara, Gay Komi, or men's love, again, do not hesitate to drop it down there. Got recommendations on my last video from a lot of you, and that was great. Can't wait to start digging through a lot of those now. Please follow me on my socials to keep up with everything that's going on. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to catch you guys all in my next video. Bye-bye.